Hello, everybody, and welcome to the online lecture Meaningful Tourism as a Tool to Develop Sustainable Tourism for South Asia. Let me start with a brief introduction of what we will do today. So, we have in the second week of December 2025 4 lectures about South Asian destinations, starting with Northeast India on Monday, and then North India on Tuesday, and Nepal on Thursday, and Bangladesh Friday. So these are 4 lectures like today, where we see specifically with the help of local experts what is the situation and how can we interpret the help for these specific destinations. On Wednesday, the 10th, we had planned to do also a lecture on Sri Lanka. Unfortunately, due to the floodings and the problems, this has to be postponed, but we will do this in January. After that, so we will have then 3 more lectures for the whole South Asia region on the 15th, the 22nd, and the 29th of December, where you can see in the topics, we will look more deeply into how to use the meaningful tools and how to use them for specific destinations and develop a step-by-step approach to use the tools that specifically we will learn about today. So today's lecture, I have the honor to start in a minute with some brief introduction of what is meaningful tourism. This is followed by our certified trainer of the Meaningful Tourism Center in the region, discussing how can meaningful tourism help develop sustainable tourism in my destination. And this is supported by a local expert we have the pleasure to welcome, talking about the current situation and activities for sustainable tourism and capacity building already existing and how meaningful tourism can be integrated into that. Then we will have our colleague Vinod Vasudevan from IROI, based in Bangalore, India. And he will do a brief introduction about earning money from sustainable behavior, so using carbon credit trading for South Asia. And then in the end, there will be a Q&A session that will be live. So you have the opportunity to ask questions already now. You can use, of course, the chat function. But otherwise, if you have any comments and any questions, we're happy to answer them. So please keep this in mind for the end of the section. So this is a service which is free for you to participate because it is sponsored by the Meaningful Tourism Center and also by our partners from the Tourism Institute. If you wish to receive a participation certificate, we are happy to provide this with the signatures of the head of Tourism Institute and myself. For this, we will have to ask a fee of $30. And there's another bonus for you. So all participants of the Meaningful Tourism online lectures South Asia will receive a free access to the Meaningful Tourism Weekly, our weekly newsletter. And of course, if you don't want it, you can cancel it at any time. Very briefly, who am I? Who is talking to you? So my name is Professor Dr. Wolfgang Georg Alt. I was born in Berlin, and I studied about Asia, especially about China. The first time I visited China and also India was in 1978, quite some time ago. And I've been working as a tour operator and then for a long time also as a professor. And in 2021, I started the Meaningful Tourism Center. And well, you can see that I have been working and still working for a lot of international organizations. And maybe the most interesting point is the last one, that since last year, So since more than 1 year, I'm living now in Kathmandu, Nepal, and currently also speaking to you from Kathmandu. So South Asia has about a fifth of the global population, but if we look at the arrival numbers, only 1% of international tourism arrivals are actually going to South Asia. So how to align growth on the one hand with sustainable development on the other hand? From our point of view, the answer is meaningful tourism. And with this, let's start the lecture of today. Hello again, welcome back. So let's start with a brief introduction about what is meaningful tourism and how can meaningful tourism be used as a tool to develop sustainable tourism in South Asia. So the meaningful tourism paradigm defines 6 main stakeholders in tourism and hospitality, and all 6 stakeholders need to receive objective benefits, money, jobs, regional development, but also subjective satisfaction from tourism and hospitality activities to support the sustainable development of destinations, companies, and organizations, and to mitigate and adapt to climate change, AI, and new developing demand structures as well. So currently, international tourism is at a crossroad. Climate change is destroying many business models. Beach tourism, city tourism, all is problematic now with heat waves, with unexpected weather phenomena, and with pollution of air, water, and therefore business models which have been working well in the past are now endangered or not even possible anymore. Also, obviously, AI is changing tourism in more ways than the internet did. This has already started, but we will see much more of that in the coming years. And also, the customer demand is changing from simple sightseeing and recreation to transformative experiences and special interest trips. So as a result, we see that quantity, the question arrival numbers, how many people are coming, and how much can I do in my time is replaced more and more by quality approaches. We see that tour operators are, for most cases, replaced by AI-powered personal assistant apps. So only if they're specialized, they will have a chance to exist in the future. And we see also of this a lot of chances for South Asian destinations and companies to avoid repeating the mistakes other destinations have done in the past years and to adopt to the current and to the future developments. And for that, there's a need for a holistic approach to tourism. This is what meaningful tourism is all about. Let's have a brief look at the last 50 years. So in 1970, the first commercial flight of the Jumbojet started. With that, flight becomes much cheaper and tourism becomes available also for middle classes. Europeans and Americans can afford to travel, for instance, to South Asia. At that time, in the beginning, it is mostly about recreation, resting your body, and also about sightseeing. And it is organized mostly in the form of package tours. And for some of the recently developed South Asian sorry, I have to cut here. I have to change this. I will do this. I will not mention the last point. And mostly for recreation, for resting, and for sightseeing. And this was mostly done in the form of package tours. The numbers have been growing. You probably have seen this kind of graphs before. So from almost nothing before the 1970s, we moved by 2019 the last year before the pandemic to almost 1.5 billion travelers. And the Asia and Pacific region, as you can see, the dark red part of this became more and more important as a destination within global tourism. Already before the pandemic struck in 2019, we see that this period of quantitative growth has come to an end. So more and more people in many destinations started to disagree with the ongoing invasion by tourists. So we had the over-tourism debate still going on, and also the criticism of pollution created, especially by flying, or just leisure tourism became bigger and bigger. There was a debate about flight shaming, so that you have to be ashamed of using an aircraft and polluting just for your private pleasure. So certainly we have come to a point where things have to change. And we saw that during the pandemic, there were also a lot of discussions that we need new KPIs, new key performance indicators. It's not enough anymore to look at the arrival numbers. We have to go deeper. And this is supported also that now, partly because of the pandemic, we see there's a big shift in the demand structure. So there is less recreation, less shopping, less sightseeing. So most of the national tourists are not working very hard with their body anymore. So most of us are sitting in front of the computer or in conferences. So it is more that we need not to rest our body, but that we need new inputs into our brain, our heart, our soul. So by transformational experiences, not just by creating nice memories of our last tourism as it used to be, but really to come home and be a new, a fuller, more developed person. And this is done with more involvement and higher levels of authentic experiences. So this has a name, transformational tourism, and maybe you remember the book by Pine and Gilmore, which was called The Experience Economy. And now one of the authors has done a new book, which is coming out in February next year, which is called The Transformation Economy. So we are moving from experiences to transformations, which is, of course, something where you have new chances, but also new challenges to fulfill this wish of a transformational experience. So to sum up, why do we need meaningful tourism? The climate breakdown will dominate the development in the coming decades. This is already clear, whatever you will do. Hopefully in the future, the damage done already will make sure that the climate changes are going on and becoming more severe. And that will destroy many unsuccessful business models also in tourism. The new technologies are providing a lot of new opportunities, but also a lot of challenges. And as we just said, the demand is going away from relaxation and sightseeing to customized transformational experiences, which will be different for every traveler. Therefore, meaningful tourism is not a nice to have idea of saying, yeah, I want to be a good person helping the planet, but it is a set of tools which is actually necessary for the survival and the future development of destinations, organizations, and companies. The house is on fire. We have to try to bring some water, if not to extinguish it, at least to slow down the burning. So as we said, we look at all stakeholders and see that they need objective benefits and subjective satisfaction. Because sometimes even people have objective benefits, they're still not happy with having many foreigners coming to their place, and they still maybe they just don't have information on what is the benefits they have, and also that it is something where we have the job to also make clear that people are feeling pride that somebody is coming from far away to look at their local culture and their local heritage and so on. So we said we have 6 main stakeholders in tourism and hospitality, and these 6 stakeholders are the travelers, the host communities, the tourism employees working in service providing companies, often forgotten when we discuss sustainable tourism, the tourism and hospitality service providing companies themselves, the governments on different levels, and the environment, both locally and globally. So we said medieval tourism is a holistic approach. That means all key stakeholders are involved, and also the key insight is that we have to align benefits. It's not about balancing, it's not about compromising. All these are not stable solutions. The only stable solution is to find an alignment between the interests of the different stakeholders. And for that, you need measurement. What you can't measure, you can't manage. So you need smart KPIs. So KPIs which are timely and relevant, and which are giving you insights every 6 months, every year, or maybe with the use of AI every minute in real time. How are the activities you are taking to improve the situation of all the stakeholders? Are they fruitful? Is the situation improving or not? And this is not only for the travel. So when we talk, for instance, about meaningful travel, we mostly concentrate on the experience of the travelers, which is, of course, important, but we need to look at the whole production chain from at the beginning, the financing and, for instance, the building of hotels and other infrastructure, towards the end to the waste management and everything which comes with it. So meaningful tourism comes with a capital M. That means it's not just let's have things a little bit more meaningful, but it's a clear paradigm, a developed theory with developed tools. And this is based on aspects of positive psychology, of well-being, and also on Schumpeter's approach of creative perspective. This approach just in 2025 received the Nobel Prize for Economics for an upgraded and modern version of this concept of creative perspective. In the lectures following this first lecture, we will talk a bit more about this background as well. So meaningful tourism offers a tool to analyze, first of all, to understand the situation. There is a self-assessment as a first step in entering the meaningful tourism movement. It's a tool to mitigate contradictions between stakeholders, and as we said, align interest. And if you look deep enough, you find there are aligned interests between all the stakeholders. Therefore, all of this developed a strategy and also developed smart KPIs, which will be different for each destination, for each company, to monitor the progress, and therefore also being able to compare what is happening in your company or in your destination with others. So the Meaningful Tourism Center is publishing a Meaningful Tourism Index, which gives you clear insights how you're doing in different areas in comparison to others. And it's obviously very important to integrate the meaningful tourism paradigm into the academic and also the vocational education and training by university programs, by vocational training programs, by using capacity building programs already existing to get this idea and this tool across into the mind of the young people who will shape the future of tourism in the coming years, in the coming decades. Last but not least, it's a tool to support the public discourse about tourism. So we mentioned that in the last years, tourism has come under a lot of criticism, and we have to make sure that we can show, with the help of smart KPI measurements, that we are a part of the solution and not a part of the problem. Very briefly, how did meaningful tourism develop? Well, it's a rather recent idea, so I have the honor that I started this development and started this concept, and in 2021 established the Meaningful Tourism Center. Since 2022, we have been giving away the Meaningful Tourism Awards at different conferences, and at the moment we are running the 2025, so you still have time until the end of the year to apply for the Meaningful Tourism Awards 2025 and to nominate companies or organizations, destinations for that. Please use this opportunity. Also in 2022, we started to publish some book chapters, and the Meaningful Tourism Center was established, and the limited company as legal owner. This company is based in London in the UK, but the headquarters is in Kathmandu, where I'm speaking at the moment to you from Kathmandu, Nepal. A very important step was that in April 2025, PATA, the Pacific Asia Transport Association, approved a meaningful Pacific Asia tourism economy as the official vision statement of PATA. So this is where also, in the point of view of PATA, the Asia Pacific region, including South Asia, will move towards them. Also in 2025, we had a couple of big international events in China and in Thailand, where meaningful tourism was discussed and presented during tourism fairs in Guangzhou and in Bangkok. And we had, of course, a lot of other conferences where I had the honor to promote and to explain what meaningful tourism is and how it can be used for the future of tourism. The backbone of all these activities are our certified trainers. So we have almost 50 trainers by now in many different countries, and you will meet some of them in the online lectures for South Asia. And you can see, so we are already in many companies, and we are certifying more trainers as we develop. So the next group of new trainers will be certified before the end of the year. And this is clearly the main instrument and the main way you can also profit from meaningful tourism, by having people in your area helping you to implement these activities and this strategy in for your own specific use, and customize it for a situation in your company or in your region. So the PATA vision is clearly saying, so it is a tourism economy, and it has to be meaningful. So meaningful tourism means the active embracement of change. I think this is an important point, that in South Asia, there are less rigid structures or compared to, for example, Europe. So there is a good opportunity to embrace change and to be positive towards new developments. And it also means not looking for compromises, but looking for the ways to achieve alignment of interest. Because, well, very simple put, in the long run, a lot of what we are selling in tourism is outdoor activities, is nature. It is also local cultures. So all these things need to be kept intact. Otherwise, we are destroying what we are selling. We are destroying our own product. So therefore, there is a clear basic shared interest in keeping local cultures, local nature, local societies intact, and make it available, and make it into something which can be the base of transformational experiences for the visitors. It's also a important tool to keep the local host population inside the activities by giving them benefits and satisfaction, so that they are not feeling that they are overrun by tourism or that there is a short-term profit orientation and that the nature of their culture is threatened by tourism, instead of giving them possibilities to keep it and to be proud of what they have, and also, for instance, keep young people in the region to avoid going away from the villages and maybe even going away from the country. Meaningful tourism is a base for better training and better working conditions. We saw that after the pandemic, in many areas, there was a staff shortage, and there is still a staff shortage because people found out during the pandemic that there are other industries where you can have a Monday, Friday, 9 to 5 job and earn maybe the same amount of money you do in tourism. So we need to develop meaningful tourism, which also means a year-round tourism, so that we can offer good conditions for our employees and attract high-quality, motivated staff. For the environment, we need, on the one hand, strict regulations and control of these regulations of the ecological impact, especially if tourism is growing. But on the other hand, this cannot work without educating the locals and educating the indigenous about the local ecosystems and how to protect them. But the more the visitors feel part of the community because they share experiences with the community, the more likely is it that they also will take good care of the local environment. So we have the same aligned interests. So long term, we have to use nature and cultural resources to generate job and income for the local people. And that is where we have the base of finding a strategy which includes all stakeholders. So in a nutshell, it means for the travelers, transformational experiences in urban and rural destinations. For the host communities, economic benefits, empowerment for women especially as well, respect for local culture, and revenue staying in the destination. So with meaningful tourism forms, it's not that the money leaks out to international companies outside of the country, but it stays in the local economy and provides profit for the local destination and the local economy. For the employees, creation of year-round jobs, therefore also providing clear career paths and having local employment, so they don't have to go away from their home area and find some good jobs and a meaningful way of working. For the companies, obviously, sustainable and profitable future. Companies need to earn money for the future investment, and all this is happening within the society in close connection with the surrounding communities. For the government, it means income from taxes, it means possibility to create jobs and to avoid brain drain as well. And for the environment, at least minimizing the local damage and being able to have more attention by locals and visitors being paid to create effects on tourism and the environment. So finally, a brief word to what is a Meaningful Tourism Center. So it's a non-profit organization, as I said, based in London with the headquarters in Kathmandu. And we are happy to have a lot of partners and trainers around the world, including in many countries in South Asia. So we are providing research, training, and consulting services for companies, organizations, and institutions globally, from Canada to Korea and from Finland to South Africa. And I have the honor to be the executive director, and so many people now call me Prof. M. So M for meaningful tourism, meaningful with capital M. And I have indeed already almost 5 decades of experience in international tourism as a consultant, as a trainer, as a publisher, as a book author, as an event organizer, and for many years, until recently also as a university professor. So, Meaningful Tourism Center, together with our local trainers, is providing a full range of services for destination companies and organizations. At the entry level, that means there's a self-assessment for individual companies based on smart KPIs, leading to the recognition as part of the meaningful tourism movement. And the key part is the meaningful tourism transformative game workshops and also source market workshops. So these are offline workshops happening physically where you are and provided by our local trainers. And they are based on role play, especially the transformational game workshops, which is a very effective and creative way to come up with new ideas and to find new solutions for the future development. And then there is the level of implementation support, which can be from just one more workshop to a full strategy development and implementation support. So especially developing customized KPIs, regular strategy workshops, and we have full implementation support packages. All are customized for South Asia destination companies and organizations. And just to mention also, for students, we offer meaningful tourism transformation student field trips. So South Asia is one of the global regions where we are together with our partners offering for university students, mostly from Europe, from China, from Korea, from Singapore, and places like that, transformational field trips, which include a visit to a local community and to work on a small meaningful tourism project together with the local communities. So the customization of these offers is done with the help of Meaningful Tourism Center trainers, both in the source market. So we have trainers also in Europe and in South Korea, for instance, but also then in the visited country, or in that case, South Asian countries. And we are always cooperating with a local university to guarantee the academic standard and the quality of the whole project. So more details about this we will discuss in the following lectures. So today we are concentrating on one region, but in the coming weeks, as I said, there are 3 more lectures on the 15th, 22nd, and 29th of December, specifically for the South Asia region. And there we will provide more details about the use of new tourism tools, how to develop customized smart KPIs, including the usage of AI, and how to create a meaningful tourism in a step-by-step approach. And the good news is if you have registered for today's online lecture, you will automatically receive a link for the online lecture South Asia 2, 3, and 4. If you have not registered and received this as a video on Tourism Institute YouTube, then you have to register with the Tourism Institute on their website. So if you're interested to do more, please contact us at the Meaningful Tourism Center here in Nepal, or you can also contact our local trainers, and we are very happy if we can be of help. So meaningful tourism is not just a nice idea, it is a tool, and we are convinced it is actually necessary to embrace this approach for a sustainable future of global tourism and of tourism specifically in South Asia. With that, let's see what the local experts are having to share with us. And we will also have a short video introducing the carbon credit trading possibilities, and then we will have a Q&A where you can ask live your questions and your comments. For the moment, thank you much for your attention, and let's move on with the lecture.
Okay. So Dr. Lajvanti Naidu, welcome to the lecture with me on the India-based seminar with Meaningful Tourism Center. Just to introduce yourself first, Dr. Lajvanti Naidu is a responsible tourism practitioner with 20 plus years of experience in aviation and travel sector. She's an assistant director now with strategy in Andhra Pradesh Tourism. She trains and empowers vulnerable groups, including visually impaired youth and urban poor, through vocational tourism skills that align with the UN SDG 4. And she has won Responsible Tourism Awards for women-led guiding and taxi driving initiatives. So welcome, ma'am, with us. So to proceed further, I have a few questions for you, which we have created based on our previous discussions. So, Dr. Naidu, you have an experience of working with the artisans for the productization and the capacity building in tourism across several communities and geographies in India. So can you give a brief introduction how your work looks like on the ground, the challenges you face, the successes, and the future vision that you work with?
Very good evening, Gaurav, and thank you so much for having me on this particular, introductory seminar or workshop, what you would like to call for meaningful tourism. Just to give you a small introduction, I'm Dr. Lajvanti Naidu, who works as capacity building now for training artisans, fishermen, and the weaver community in Andhra Pradesh to empower them in tourism. Apart from that, I'm also working for the self-help group women to bring them into the mainstream tourism. So that the first question which you would like to understand, which I would like to express is how I am bringing these 4 categories. Number 1, artisans, how I am trying to bring them on board. Now, most of the state of Andhra Pradesh has around 6 artifacts which are GI tagged. That is Kondapalli, Etikopaka, Mangalagiri, Uppada, and Dharmavaram, and other things. Now, just to give you a live example of this, these toy makers make these kind of traditional dolls. They are very, very traditional, which are unique and which are GI tagged. Apart from that, they only talk about the godly, the religious figures. Like, this is a small figure of Lord Rama, and I have Lord Balaji next to me, which are, these are the things. Now, for centuries, we have been doing it.
Ma'am, in the interest of the listeners, could you please explain what GI tagging means?
Yes, I'm very happy to answer this question. Yes, GI tagged is a geographical indicated tagging where this particular product, this wood, is available only in Andhra Pradesh at a village called Kondapalli. The seeds which are planted, the trees which are grown out of this Telliponaka wood is available only here. We tried to transplant and grow the wood, otherwise also it did not grow. So we have given a geographical indicated tag to this particular wood. Basing on this wood, these toys are made. So now the artisans create livelihood on this. So the first and the foremost thing what I would like to say is what are the how I can incorporate them in the tourism mainstream. So we are creating livelihood opportunities by creating these toys as souvenirs for tourist destinations. Number 1. Number 2, what with any tourist who is actually coming would like to visit a destination and work upon, taking a memory or a memento sort of a thing. So this village community was over a period of time after post-COVID, the village stopped. Number one big challenge was the growth of the trees. Number two, the livelihood was lost. Number three, what happened is no proper buyers because this wood is expensive and not many willing to go. These are the first three challenges. So now, meaningful tourism, I wanted to work upon creating experiences, like curating experiences and creating economy through this choice. Let me repeat. I am
Yes.
creating economy and curating experience for the tourist in a meaningful way where I am immersing them in the experience part of it. So now they're coming to the challenges. Yeah. You have any other question to ask?
No, I was coming to the challenges that you might have faced while developing these products and while working with the communities to develop them
Yes.
and offering them for the tourists.
It looks very glossy, but at the grassroots level, the main challenge was there is a lot of resistance for them to upgrade their skill. Second important, there was no market demand for that. Third important, we have so much of digitalization, they still sell the shops in a manual way. And fourth important thing, the toys are very expensive, so no buyers. Then, and these toys are very, very, traditional weight. So there was no design upgradation. So 4 important challenges. How did the government take an initiative? So the government constructed a complete experience center there, where with the department of the forest department, we started giving them wood. Number 1. Number 2, we started upskilling them with different designs, bringing young students like NID and NIFT, that is National Institute of Design, and other students they gave their inputs. And the third important thing was we used the social media for marketing.
Right.
And fourth important thing, what we did was digitalization of the payments.
So to summarize, you're saying that you integrated everything. You integrated the skill of the grassroots community. But since the grassroots community did not lack the social media and the digitization skills, you brought in the people who had those skills from a different place. Then you brought in the people from institutions like NID and NIFT. So you consolidated the people with different skills to overcome these challenges that the community had while working by themselves.
Absolutely right. Apart from that, instead of having a third intervention, we started training the third generation, the father, the mother, the son, and the grandchild.
Right.
So that had a more impact because the children were more tech savvy than the parents. Instead of bringing a third person, initially we worked with a third party intervention, which did not work out. So what we have done was we started communicating with the artisans, and we internally, whoever is studied, whoever is tech savvy, whoever is having a smartphone, we will, along with the grandfather, we put the grandson also in the classroom. When the grandfather, we integrated so that the whole family was brought into one ecosystem.
And I suppose the problem that we have in other villages across India, including the north and the northeast, that when people do not have enough work opportunities, they migrate to the bigger cities, putting pressure on the resources there. Now, if they have a proper ecosystem in their village, it not only keeps them in the village, it gives them a standard quality, standard of living. It creates a sense of pride in their own heritage, which is any form of art and craft. And it also keeps them connected to their roots, which also includes their family. Is that right, ma'am?
Very, very true. And absolutely right that, after COVID, where most of in fact, I took this as a blessing when after COVID, when the villages, they came back to their hometown, leaving bigger cities. This is where that, we started working on meaningful way in a more responsible, we wanted to give them meaning to their life. They were like, no, we don't have a job now. Where do I go? What is the thing? So we created this ecosystem for them. Look, we are doing this particular, but with working with one village community itself took us more than 1.5 years. I'll tell you, it is
Right.
not an easy walk. It took what I told you in 4 important points. I'm still unable to inaugurate with my CM. Maybe next week or so, I have to get the experience center inaugurated. So
Yeah.
to work with the community, it took more than 1.5 years.
Right. Right. And now you are happy with the results, like you are seeing some sort of stabilization in the project that you started 1.5 years back?
We are seeing the stabilization, but still, in spite of the digitalization marketing, we don't have tourist footfall coming to the village. So we
Right.
need to work upon that and do the branding of the state that
Right.
that this village is there. That is still a challenge which we are working upon.
Right. So that's where the tour operators come in, and that's where their linkages with the appropriate markets come in. Markets where the people are interested in having these kind of experiences, and tour operators who can design in experiences that can incorporate such visits into the overall tour in India. Is that right?
Absolutely. Absolutely right. What we do is the Andhra Pradesh still lacks that kind of a tourism potential as refined tourism, unlike Gujarat, Kerala, or Rajasthan. So
Right.
what we are trying to do is we have created travel tour association operators. So now whatever experience center, now this which I am working Kondapalli Toys, we are requesting them to integrate in their tour itinerary, bring some of the tourists to that. So this is the first aspect of it. Second thing, me being in the government, what we decided, any government officials or any other function which is happening, we now give only Kondapalli Toys as a return gift to all the government
Right.
officials.
Wonderful, ma'am. Wonderful. So thank you for sharing your views on that. I will move to the next question. So meaningful tourism is based on the insight that all stakeholders receive objective benefits and subjective satisfaction from their engagement in tourism. I will repeat that: objective benefits and subjective satisfaction from their engagement in tourism. Where do you see the possibilities of using this approach of meaningful tourism for the capacity building of the artisans and the host communities you're working with? And how can this be used to boost international tourism within India, the inbound tourism that I'm talking about?
Okay, and then the first question, what you said is subjective. You were talking about
Objective benefits and subjective satisfaction of what they are doing.
Objective benefits. Now, let me first address the objective benefits. Now that I've given you a live case study about a toy maker, now I'll come back to the one which I'm wearing, a silk saree. So I thought I'll dip. This particular silk, this is the Mangalagiri silk, which is again a GI tagged product. Now we are finding that weavers are quitting weaving now. Same problem as in that. Now, what is the meaningful way where the government intervention has come? We have adopted the complete village. The Mangalagiri is being adopted by Honorable CM's son, Nara Lokesh, and we have completely created a subjective way because they thought that now weaving is no more an option, because the third generation with the toys we could at least raise their standards and tell them, but weaving is a Herculean task and we lost, we were losing several master weavers. That is where we thought we will, again, the government system came in. We intervened there. We created pitlooms and handlooms. And then we tied up with Tata's Tanera. We upgraded them to give them livelihood. And it was a 3-year project, centrally funded by the central government and the state government. Now, what we do is we are creating experiences across the these sarees again, like toys, are again a different things. So for the inbound tours operators to come, we are tying up with other state because my state doesn't have much of a tourism potential as such. So we need to collaborate with Association of Domestic Tour Operators who are coming in and, experience the sea. It's like, sea, sand and saris. this particular village where it is close by. So we are curating an experience circuit where a person comes see the beach of Andhra Pradesh, buy a sari, and spiritually see the temple and go back. So we are curating this kind of a thing, but we are still not able to come up with the figures and facts. I think we are
Right.
in the not exactly nascent stage, but these are all in the marketing and promotion stage.
Of course, I understand, ma'am. It takes several years to concretize this on the ground. But in terms of subjective satisfaction, have you noticed or have you spoken to some families who might have shared how this new ecosystem that is supported by the state government as well as the central government and your team on the ground has supported them in terms of probably raising their income to a certain level, or the subjective satisfaction of having your generational wealth, which is for them their art, being preserved? So, are there any stories like that that you would like to share with us?
Yeah, now I gave you the objective thing. The subjective part of it, what happens is because of the middleman, the product was sold at a very lesser price. Now
Right.
that we have intervened the corporate, so their living standard has improved and the corporate brands are doing their marketing. Now, second subject satisfaction is, the upskilling the third generation or the second generation in the family. Now that there is literacy in the family, the second and third generation want technology intervention instead of the pitlooms and handlooms. So subjective wise, weavers themselves are giving us very good objections. Ki, ma'am, you please come up with this, you please incorporate this, then it will become much easier for us to weave this and weave this. So I'm very product centric. Maybe I'm talking to you in a very product centric manner about toys and weaving, but these are the live case studies which I can actually explain to you. So when we spoke to the stakeholders, the weaver community, they gave us very good designs that this technological upgradation is required in the handlooms and pitlooms. When we introduce them, it is taking time, but 2-3 models have been made and they were able to incorporate, and weaving is become much more simpler. So they are happy about it.
Thank you, ma'am. That is really wonderful. And to connect for the viewers who are watching this lecture series, I would like to connect what Lajvanti ma'am has shared with our experiences in the Northeast, because the challenges that are faced on the ground are the same. So the tribal communities in the Northeast face the similar challenges that their younger generation has to migrate to bigger cities, majorly Mumbai, Bangalore, and Delhi, in search of jobs, because for a very long time their traditional arts and crafts have not been highlighted and integrated into the tourism. But what we have been doing is we have been highlighting the weaving of Meghalaya, which is especially the silk weaving, and the traditional cuisine of northeastern states, which is very different from what we have in northern and western India, and have integrated them as products into the itinerary that a person would really take when they travel to the northeast. So by productizing each of these experiences and integrating them into the larger itinerary of 2 to 3 weeks, it provides a direct income to these communities on the ground. And of course, we always encourage them to have another source of income, because we never encourage them to just depend only on tourism. In this day and time, we tell them that you should have at least 2 to 3 different sources of income, and one of that should be tourism. And that is definitely by encouraging their arts and crafts. That is one source. So thank you, ma'am, for your time, and we will see each
Just
other
to
soon.
conclude and
Yeah.
take another step, as you rightly said, to increase another source of income, Gaurav, we have come up with a homestay policy where in the artisan home they can stay. We have in a tourism policy, we have come up with a homestay policy where they can stay with them and then learn the thing to have a secondary source of income.
Definitely, ma'am. That's really great. I'm sure that since there are in village families, there are multiple people. They are seldom nuclear families. Most of the time, it's a whole community. So I have seen that in villages, one person takes care of probably the arts and crafts, the other person takes care of food, and the third person might take care of the homestay. So it's a collective work that we have observed in a lot of villages across India. Yeah. Would you like to add
Yes.
anything else before we
No,
close?
this is where the complete community integration. So I started working for tribal homestays, weaver
Right.
community, and other things,
Right.
so that a small ecosystem is developed with other sources of income, not completely depending on it, making their lives more meaningful,
Yeah.
contributing to the tourism,
Yeah.
and then they're getting direct employment and direct benefits.
Absolutely, ma'am. And that's where the idea of meaningful tourism lies, attaching the grassroots stakeholders to the mainstream tourism and driving the benefits directly to them. Thank you, ma'am, for your time and your sharing your thoughts. And we will connect pretty soon.
Thank you so much, Gaurav, for having me. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you so much, Meaningful Tourism. Thank you so much for giving me this opportunity. Thank you, one and all.
Thank you, ma'am.
In a world where every sector must do its part, the hospitality industry stands at a unique crossroads, hosting millions while shaping a sustainable future. Step 1. Smart billing and digital records. Automated systems now track energy and water usage, carbon footprint per guest, and even the impact of room service. This transparency helps hotels benchmark, reduce, and communicate emissions. Water is precious. Through sensor-based taps, water recycling units, and rainwater harvesting, hotels cut consumption while ensuring luxury remains untouched. Energy efficiency is no longer optional. With solar power, smart thermostats, LED lighting, and HVAC optimization, IoT sensors for lighting and heating or cooling control, energy use is reduced by up to 40%, directly lowering emissions. Did you know hotels waste up to 150 kilograms of food daily? Through AI-based kitchen audits and composting, food waste becomes biocompost for gardens, or even biochar for carbon sequestration. Garden waste, too, is reimagined. Instead of being trashed, it's turned into fertilizer or clean-burning biomass. Guests play a key role. Simple choices, reusing linens, choosing local meals, or opting for green room services, staff uniforms, can cut their carbon footprint by up to 30%. The use of recycled material from bamboo waste into linen needs to be highlighted here, allowing for community-based entrepreneurs to develop and flourish. Transformation starts within. Trained staff drive the sustainability vision, reducing waste, spotting inefficiencies, and delivering a greener guest experience. Each action contributes to the UN Sustainable Development Goals: clean water, SDG 6, affordable and clean energy, SDG 7, responsible consumption, SDG 12, climate action, SDG 13. Guests can use our Carbon Calculator app to calculate their carbon footprint via air or road and during the stay, and contribute to a community development project that helps women empowerment, poverty alleviation, and making our planet a safer, greener place. The path to zero emissions isn't about compromise. It's about innovation, awareness, and commitment for the planet, for people, and for the future of hospitality. Businesses want to go green, but most don't know where to start. And the ones who try? They get lost in complex ESG frameworks and greenwashing risks. At AIROI, we turn climate goals into measurable impact, using AI to track emissions, generate real carbon biochar and plastic credits, and support nature-based solutions. From Peru to Nigeria, we help land stewards and recyclers monetize impact, turning sustainability into a business advantage. AIROI, where AI meets ESG. Let's build a regenerative future together.
Okay, welcome back everybody. So we are live now again. it's my great pleasure to welcome Dr. Naida and Gaurav, our friend and trainer in the northeast, especially of India. And I think we had a very good discussion already, where we already heard some very impressive best practice examples from other parts of India. And so I certainly will remember sea, sand, and sari in the future. So, but I'm based in Nepal, so we don't have much sea and sand here. But certainly, this is a very nice way to see that the combination of tourism with local engagement and local artisans can work very, very well. So I think this has been really very encouraging to see that there are all around the world many people who are doing the right thing and doing this both for questions of the environment, like we just saw in the last video from IROI, based in Bangalore in India, actually, how we can reduce the ecological footprint, but of course also the social aspects. How can we empower people, especially people in the countryside, in less developed areas, and within the society, women and young people? How can they use tourism as a tool to stay in their regions, stay in their villages, and not have to go away to big cities or to other countries to work? And how can we also bring the whole society, all members of the society, into this benefits and satisfaction we talked about? So let me start, if I may, to go back to Gaurav, because well, this is supposed to be about Northeast India. So and you already built a bridge to what you are doing and what are your specialties are. But maybe can you talk a bit more about where you see how meaningful tourism can be of use, especially for the situation we find in Northeast Asia, and so maybe also tell us a bit what is, in a nutshell, the current situation of tourism, especially inbound tourism in Northeast India.
Can you hear me? Okay, thank you, Dr. Wolfgang. I would like to just cite two examples so that I can paint the picture for all of you from India. So I'll start with one destination, which is, I suppose, considered as an offbeat destination, and another one, which is a destination that probably all of the world knows about India. And I will compare both of them in terms of inbound tourism and how that can be enhanced in terms of the quality of experience using the tenets of meaningful tourism. So first is the offbeat destination I would pick up, and I will do it very quickly in considering the time that all of us have. So the Northeast India in Meghalaya, as I said, due to the lack of infrastructure for several years, it was out of the bounds of the people who were not absolutely adventurous. So anybody who wanted some bit of comfort, but at the same time go beyond the ordinary, they were not able to reach the Northeast. And of course, nobody was, like, very few people were promoting it. I'm saying about 7 to 8 years back. And anybody who would go there would probably just do a safari, see some waterfalls. Of course, safaris are beautiful, but that's not all in Assam and Meghalaya. And they would do some little bit of walking and see Cherrapunji, and they will come back. However, that was concentrating the tourism into very few centers, and that was becoming the only place where the tourism was happening. And in the other villages, which is I suppose, the larger part of the state, was completely left out to other forms of businesses and income. But now, if a person goes to Meghalaya, at least in our tours, they of course do all these major sites, but apart from that, they get the experience of staying with the indigenous communities. These are Khasi indigenous communities. This is called the Khasi tribe. And so they not only stay in a hotel, what happens is sometimes people stay in a hotel, they just visit the community and quickly come back. Now, I don't think that really inspires interaction between the two people. What here happens is that they stay within the community for two days at least. And people are very happy to do that, even though the facilities to stay there are not very luxurious, they are pretty basic, but they are pretty happy to do that. They go for some village walks where they visit several homes. They get to know how they name their newborn babies in a very interesting way through a musical tone. Then they visit another community which is specializing into silk weaving. And the very interesting aspect of the silk weaving is that they don't kill the silkworm when they extract the silk. So it's called non-violent, if you could say that. Uh, and at the end of it, if somebody wants to purchase something, they do it directly from the artisan from their home. So now that it's a choice for the person. They can purchase it in a showroom in Shillong, or they can purchase it from an artisan directly from their home. We leave it open to their choice. But we always prefer that if they go directly to the artisan not only gets to sell their products, but they also get to have the exposure of speaking to a foreigner, which probably they would not have otherwise. So that's and I would say that it doesn't mean that if somebody is living in a village in Meghalaya, they are not tech savvy. The younger generation knows how to make the reels and Instagram reels and everything. They are pretty tech savvy compared to their previous generation. Uh, yeah, so they're doing a good job there. And that's how I would say an experience of 2 to 3 weeks would flow into Meghalaya and Assam. Incorporating such experiences, I have not covered everything, but just two of them. I will now talk about a destination which is probably known all across the world, which is the Taj Mahal. So, Taj Mahal, I was just checking online that I was comparing it to the Eiffel Tower, and the number of tourists that visit Taj Mahal, which is 7 million per year, is equal to the number of tourists that go to Eiffel Tower per year. But the average number of days that a person spends in Paris is 5 days, 4 to 5 days. But in Agra, they spend maybe just one day. They go in the morning, come back in the evening, or just one night. And they see the Taj Mahal, and the next morning they exit to Jaipur. That has become a trend. So what has happened is it has become a cog in the wheel. You visit, you take up whatever you can, and then you move on. However, in this kind of a destination, what we have been doing is we, of course, do the Taj Mahal, but apart from that, we give them the experience of visiting the artisans whose ancestors basically have played a critical role in building the Taj Mahal. So they not only visit them, they learn how the inlay work is done, which is also called the Pietra Dura work in Italy, and in India it's called Bharai. In Hindi it's called Bharai, but it's in English we can say inlay work. So they visit them, they see how the work is done, and can also do a little bit with their own hands. Apart from that, they can also try the traditional cuisine of the Agra and Mathura region, which is not very well known, unfortunately, but it's an experience where they get to have a 7 course meal of this region. The third thing that they get to do there is visit the Zardozi artisans. It's not a weaving, but it's sort of an embroidery that they do with metal wire of different metals. So it was pretty prominent during the medieval ages. Now during those days, the clothes were made out of this, but now nobody wears these heavy clothes. So usually they make wall hangings and stuff like that, and small items which are more decorative. So there they could actually do a workshop of anywhere between 1 to 3 hours, and depending upon their area of interest and the duration of their interest. So now this increases the amount of time they spend in a place which had only become a one night stop previously. And now the money that they spend goes to the hotel or the homestay. It goes to the guide at the Taj Mahal. It goes to the artisan who is the weaver, the embroider. It goes to the person who is doing the inlay work. And of course, the driver is spending more time there, so they also get to earn more. So rather than just the Taj Mahal and the guide, now several people are getting benefited from the amount that inbound tourist is spending in Agra. That's what we have been doing. So I wanted to really show you two pictures of how meaningful tourism is set to create difference in two very different areas of India. That's all from my side, Doctor.
Yeah. No, thank you very much, Gaurav. And again, I think this is showing some of the key elements of what we are also trying to do to support is, so first of all, it is for all kinds of destinations. You have rightly pointed out, even if you just look at arrival numbers, if this is the only KPI you have, you say, wow, wonderful, 7 million people coming to the Taj Mahal, world record. But then, of course, the question is, how long are they staying? How much are they spending? And where is the money they're spending going to? How much of this is staying in the local community? And as I tried to point out in my presentation at the beginning, so fortunately, there is a growing demand of people exactly to know more about the living of the local people, the local traditions, and that can also be the people whose ancestors built Taj Mahal and who are now still engaging in some artisan work. And so especially if there's an opportunity that people can also try out a little bit how to do this and have a workshop for half a day or so, that is of course what now people are also interested in. If you want to see the Taj Mahal, there are wonderful websites where you can see it in every detail, much better than you can see it in reality. But so that is not the experience. So the experience is being there and being with the people, and therefore I think this is also the examples Dr. Naidu has been telling us about. This is exactly what we want to do. And before I come to Dr. Naidu, maybe let me also just emphasize that, of course, we are talking with Gaurav and for India that we will also organize that we bring groups of people who are interested, and mostly that will be student groups who come to such places all over India and stay with the community maybe for a week or so, and to work with the local community and learn how you can organize this, learn the work that has been done, but also maybe contributing a little bit, doing a little project and helping people a little bit how to move forward. And you mentioned tech-savvy people. So of course now one of the big forces of change is artificial intelligence and social media. And this is also, of course, one way to communicate directly with potential customers to tell people what there is, what you can do. And that is definitely something where, for instance, student groups will be very well qualified also to work on this. So it's not only the traditional to keep the traditional artisan arts and crafts and skills alive. It's also and I think that it became also clear what Dr. Naidu said. It also a point you have to bring people to go there and to appreciate it and to also spend money there. So to bring money into the local economy, the local community. So I'm based in Nepal, and certainly the biggest problem of Nepal is that all the young people are running away, so they don't have good jobs here, and so you have a lot of brain drain, and this is the biggest problem that we have so many bright young people here in Nepal, but most of them, after they finish a bachelor, then for their master or for working, they go away, and that is what we can really see here. They're missing here. So, and of course, before that, people who are in the villages go to the city, come to here to Kathmandu. So they're going out of this village to the city, and then maybe from the city further out of the country. So I think this is an important point where tourism can really be of benefit for a region, and also as we have been stressing, it's one is benefit, that means you have a job, can earn money, but the other is also satisfaction to that, and that is also of course the experience that local people can be proud of what they have. If they see that people are coming from far away, from China, from Europe, from wherever, to eat the local food and learn the local practices and praise people for not killing the silkworm, but letting it live. So that this is, of course, certainly for local people. Then you see, oh, our local tradition is something worse, is something important. So that will give them pride in for generations to keep this, and this is not something old and nobody cares about it anymore. So that is the part where it is beyond money. It's also something where the satisfaction is important. So let me ask you, so how would you imagine, how could we, if we bring some student groups, let's say from Europe, tourism students or art students or regional development students, we bring groups of students to your projects, how could they be integrated into the work, and how could you benefit, besides that they spend some money, how could they benefit, how could they help the local communities you are working with?
Thank you so much. It was indeed a great honor to have you and understand the activities which you are doing about meaningful tourism. I was very with intent listening to you, what you were talking about, from commodity to goods to services and experience. So when I'm at the stage of experience, creating experiences, now you gave a roadmap about transformation. So I'm happy that we are working on those lines and addressing your question as to how you can bring students to India. Right, sir. We have some academic, very good universities which can host these your children. What I would be doing is I will share all the details with Gaurav and to you also so that we can collaborate and understand, because Gaurav is an expert in understanding and curating the experiences, and I am an expert in creating the content as an academician, and creating the curating, the connecting with the right people in the government and with the community. So together, this would be a great initiative. Definitely, I would be calling this, immersive India, immersive programs where the students come, learn with an immersive thing, depending on the duration, understanding, whatever are the things. I have done these kind of programs where I was a professor in Amity University in Noida as India Immersive Program, sir. So we had students from Italy, Rome, where they came, stayed in India for 15 days. Out of that, 3 days were classroom curriculum, where we taught them what tourism is taught with Indian specific and an international tourism, and rest 8 days were practical experiences, like how a tour operator in India works, how a travel company operates, what an airline does, how does an embassy, and the other integration. Those site visits were arranged. And in the last 3 days, a complete Rajasthan or Uttar Pradesh a site 3-day visit was experienced. But as rightly said by Gaurav, it was like touch and go. Children would see Taj Mahal, go back, and not carry many things. They were only carrying only certain movements, but not experiences. So I think with meaningful tourism, the academic trips can also be given as a product. Maybe you can give them 1 credit. Look, coming to India, you will add 1 credit to your system. A project which is done for an artisan or a weaver or a fisherman community or XYZ, name it, depending on the interest, could be given a value added, so that the student has certain value added course curriculum.
Yeah, no, I'm happy to hear that already you have some experience, because that is exactly also what we want to do. And of course, this is supposed to be for the students where they do get credits and points within their studies back home. So that is not just some holiday. And for that, of course, we will need always a local university as a quality assurance partner. And also, as you said, I have a few days at the beginning, giving some introduction on what's the local situation, what is the framework where tourism is happening, and then go really onto the field, because I've been university professor for many years, and I've been also recently at a couple of conferences where we talk about the future of teaching, tourism of university teaching. And of course, a lot of the traditional way of teaching, of bringing teaching facts. Well, we have AI now, so there's a lot of information online available, and the quality of the information is getting better month by month, so that it is now much more moving that also at university, what we need is skills and experience, and that you really go onto the field, and especially maybe for European or Chinese students, that they see the countryside situation, or that they can see how to make a famous site like Taj Mahal also useful and a source of income, not only for the people directly there, but also for the surrounding area. So that this is something which AI cannot give you. So and meeting the local people and yes, transformation, because I've also been involved in some of such projects in the past, and this is always a big eye opener, that on the one hand, how different situations can be in different parts of the world, but also, of course, the fact that these people living in the countryside in India are not living in the 19th century, that they also are today's people using smartphones and being inside this world, and maybe listening to the same kind of music. So that there's also this idea that basically people are very similar to each other and have similar interests and similar behavior, with some, of course, with cultural differences, but basically that it is not a something where because I think what is the difference is also for meaningful tourism is that a lot of the debate in Western countries is there's some romantic idea, or there's a traditional village, and we have to keep it like it was in the past. And so, but of course, if you ask, okay, what about the situation of women 100 years ago? You want that? And what about you have a tooth-edge and you need a dentist with modern equipment? How about having electricity? Is it too bad? Is it not? So so that we are saying, and last week we had a whole week 5 different online lectures similar for African countries, and it's the same story. When you talk about Kenya, there is countryside, but there's also Nairobi with a lot of young eager people, and I think for India it's exactly the same, that this is a lot of new ideas and new developments going on, and that is also something which is interesting to see, besides the traditions, how this is then formed into today's life. And so therefore, yes, I think that is hopefully a way where we can work on this and bring student groups, and it might also be expert groups. So of course, we talk about weaving and then special textiles and special food. They can also be professional groups who go there, who are expert in that field, to learn something. And so there is much less recreation, resting your body. That's we all in the Western world, most people, they sit in front of a computer the whole day, or they sit in meetings, so they don't have to rest their body. They don't do much physical work. They need some input for their brain, for their heart, for their soul, and this is what you can get from this trips. So I think Mr. Rajan, can you hear me? I saw you had to hear the phone.
Just to take it forward, sir, what I'll do is I'll be sharing my experiences with Gaurav, how this student program can be taken, like a memorandum of understanding between Gaurav and the university to facilitate the inbound tours, because this is very meaningful. Not every academic university will have this kind of an understanding, except around few 10 universities which are UNWTO accredited, or the ones who are participated in responsible tourism, or, committing with, upliftment of the artisans or other things. So what I will do is I'll connect all the details with Gaurav and discuss with him telephonically so that Gaurav can give the complete inputs to you.
That is very good. And that, of course, is important. And also, we have the experience in other countries also that, of course, then cooperating with the university also means that maybe some of the students, the local students, will be interested to meet the visiting students, and that they can also show the visitors their life. And so that probably if you have a student showing them around in your city, they will look at other things than you and me would do. So, so that young people talking to young people, and that this is also a part of it. And if the university can organize this, and I think in most cases there are enough students interested to volunteer, and so okay, I spend some time with the visitors. So no, thank you very much. I think this is something really we want to push forward, and this is something universities will have to offer much more of this service, because there are some people now saying, oh, you don't need to study anymore. All the information is in AI. All you need to know is how to use AI, and then that's all, which I don't think is true. But this is, of course, something the universities have to fight harder. And you see that the number of enrollment is going down for tourism in many countries already. So we have to become more sexy again.
With the other important aspect which you told about stakeholders, travelers, host community, tourism experience, and tourism hospitality, government and environment, keeping in view of all these 7 points, I'll give Gaurav those inputs, and we can collaboratively work on these aspects only. And I'll align the university which are participating in this, and where the center of excellences are there. There are certain very good high institutions where they have this center of excellences. We can collaborate with them. And even the technical institutions like IIT and others, where you spoke about sensor water, sensor based technology, most of certain academic institutions are already into it, the new constructions. So we'll surely share all the details with Gaurav, and I'm happy to share it. Take it forward in a more meaningful way.
Okay, thank you very much. Yeah, so the IROI company, we saw the video about carbon trading is actually, well, it's an American company, but their main work is done from Bangalore, so they are in India. So that is also a good partner of us. So I see, Mr. Rajan, do we have a question, or do we have a comment on what we have been talking about today? Because we are way over time, but I want to give you an opportunity.
Well, this is a very nice and unique concept which I've come across today. We've always been talking about sustainable tourism and so on, but meaningful tourism, which I think is part and parcel of responsible tourism per se. But yeah, it is a good initiative, and things the way you've connected all 6 parameters is looking really promising. I would like to know, if I have to join you, how do I go about it?
Sir, is the question to me, Dr. Naidu?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Sure. You can always join me. I'm working as an assistant director capacity building in Andhra Pradesh. So
Right.
we'll share the numbers and details, so you can definitely work on it. In fact, that's what we were talking with Professor, to have student exchange programs in a more meaningful way. Instead of the classroom teaching, let them come and experience at the grassroots level. So my note is from classroots to grassroots. From
Right.
classroom,
Very well said.
transform them to grassroots to understand what exactly is happening at the grassroots, so that that is much more meaningful learning, sir. And surely we'll connect.
Perfect. And I would love to start something similar in our vicinity. So how we can go about it, or what we can do, we can have a little more chat on that maybe later.
And maybe if I can add, so I mentioned briefly in my presentation. So what we can offer, what we are offering for individual companies, individual organizations, is that a very low level entry, which is based on a self-assessment. So we have a set of KPIs of key performance indicators, and you can do for your own company, your own business, a self-assessment and identify two of the KPIs. Is okay, this is where we want to improve something, and we want to do this and this within like 1 year, and we will measure after 1 year the success. And so this is something where we will then also document this, that you have joined this movement. And so we are not, maybe let me tell, we are not doing certifications because there's so many certificates already in the world, and nobody knows really which one to trust and which one not to trust. And in many cases, people do a certification and then they think, oh, now I have a piece of paper, I can go back to sleep, and they're not continuing to innovate. That's why we are from the beginning said we don't do certification per se, but of course we are acknowledging and including our communication companies or organizations who have said, okay, I want to move in this direction. And then the next step is then, and this is where Gaurav comes into the play, that we have a full day workshops, which of course we have to do for a bigger group of people. So normally organized by the local destination marketing organization or by a bigger company. So where we then have a full day workshop to go further in this direction. So, but for the company, so I'm happy to send you some more information about that for how you can do the first step. And this is really not very complicated and not expensive at all. So that is the starting point. With this, I'm looking at the time. We already almost half an hour over our normal time, but I think it was very interesting. And again, especially Dr. Naidu and of course Gaurav, thanks for sharing a lot of interesting information. And I know that a lot of people will watch this video later on, and we will certainly keep in touch. And as I mentioned, so everybody who has registered will also get the Meaningful Tourism Weekly, our newsletter every week. So you will get this for free, of course. And so we will move on and see if we can really create this tours where we bring students and other experts to the projects we talked about today. So maybe the last word I can give for our local expert to Gaurav. So because you did most of the work to bring this together. So if you want to say a final words, then we wrap up.
Just that it's wonderful to see that different people come together to with their own areas of expertise, because one person cannot do everything on their own, be an academician or a tour operator or anybody. So when different people come together with their own areas of expertise, their own connections, their own experiences, then that's when we can achieve. Be it student trips or be it developing grassroots projects or be it trainings, all of it is possible only when different people come together. So it's wonderful to see that happening. Yeah.
Okay, thank you for that. So then I would say from Kathmandu, namaste, and thank you everybody for joining. And so let's continue on the way towards.
Thank you very much, everybody. Thank you.
Thank you. Yes, and also thank you the Tourism Institute for, as always, helping us with the technical realization. And this video will become available on the website institute.com to see it for again and for more people to watch in the future. Thank you so much. Goodbye.
Thank you.
Bye.
Have a nice day. Bye-bye.